Did Blake Lively force Jenny Slate to file an HR complaint against Baldoni and co? And Jane Fonda just made a speech that's going viral from the SAG Awards, and she is doubling down on what it means to be woke. I hope you're ready for it because I'm feeling a little spicy. Let's dive in. You're listening to No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. Welcome on in, welcome on in, welcome on in. What's going on, everybody in the club? Hi, guys. Welcome on in, welcome on in. We have a lot to get into. I'm going to recap everything that happened over the last several days because I've been in New York, but I'm finally back in LA. And don't worry, I taped a lot of new episodes, a lot of new collabs. If you stayed tuned over the weekend, then you will have noticed that I did my collab with Dave Neal. Love me some Dave Neal. I'm glad that he and I actually got to connect and that I got to do his show. He got to do my show. So if you haven't caught that episode, it dropped on my show on Sunday. His episode, I was on his show, that dropped on Saturday of this past weekend. So you can go support Dave Neal, support me, support your other content creators. I also did Donna Bowling's show, I think on Saturday on Sunday. So Friday, sorry. While I was live from New York, I called into her show from my iPhone. So definitely go support, send some love, leave a comment, leave a review, all the things, right? And thank you guys for all the sweet reviews that you left over the weekend. M. Lindsay, thank you. Row 23, thank you. L Love. Cool Jane, thank you. D-Rod 715, thank you. Love you guys, and I appreciate you guys. Yeah. Also, Dave Neal gave me a really good idea, which I saw Reddit ran with this, and they're like, Zach's telling people the Astros have Reddit. Not true. But Dave Neal said that he told his audience if they helped him get to 100K on YouTube, 100K subscribers, that he would then go to New York and cover the Lively versus Baldoni trial live in New York. And I was like, huh. And then I think we joked on his show or my show, one of our shows, we talked about how maybe we'll get a content house and all us creators will just go to New York and cover the Blake and Baldoni trial together come March. So I don't know. I think I'm down for this. Can we get this channel to 100,000 subscribers? If you're listening on Apple or watching on Spotify, on over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button. And if we can get to 100K, I think I'll bring Marco, my cameraman. We'll go to New York and we'll film. I'll be like one of those reporters outside the courthouse live with No Filter with Zack Peter. I don't know. Just an idea. Let's get it. I think we can get it. How are you not at 100K? That's crazy. Listen, the podcast is popping and the socials are popping, but YouTube, we have good views and engagement, but we're at, I think, 65,000 subscribers on YouTube. I think we can hit 100K. Let's get it. All right. Enough rambling and talking about me. Let's get into Baldoni. How many do you have so far? I think 65,000 is where we're at right now on YouTube. Oh, sorry, 66.8 thousand. Wow. So we're almost at 67. So we're inching towards 70,000. Every inch matters, right? We can get to the 100,000. And then I can get one of those cute little silver placards that you put on the wall. Everyone, they all have it. Yeah, we're at 66.8. So we'll get there. We will get there. Not too shabby. Okay, 100K. That's the goal. 2025. Let's get it. Okay, what do we want to? There's so much that we have to get into. But like I said, this week is full of collabs. I have Jackie Goldschneider from the Real Housewives of New Jersey. She's an attorney, so I had her weigh in on Blake and Baldoni too. Filmed with Kempire, so that episode will air on Tuesday of this week if you're a fan of Kempire. Steven Peters, lots of fun collabs that I'm doing all week. Got to do some fun press while I was in New York last week. I got to do Access Hollywood's podcast, Housewives Nightcap. I got to go to the Access Hollywood studio or offices in New York at 30 Rock. That was really cool. The NBC studios. I got to do Fox 5 New York. That was really fun. Shout out to Bianca Peters, who had me on her on her show. She has a television show on Fox 5. She didn't have podcasts. But I got to do her show. It was fun. Lots of good stuff. Did Dave Neal's show, did Steven Peters' show. So yeah. Manifesting all the good. Now you're just bragging. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's move on. Okay, let's start with, because a lot of updates came in. We'll get to the Hollywood Reporter article. We'll get to Jenny Slate in a sec. We'll get to the SAG Awards, but I want to start with the SNL skit because there's a brief update that came in. So and I'm only covering this because I didn't cover it last week. So I'm going to give you a recap of everything that's gone down that we haven't discussed on the podcast over the last few days. The Q Card guy from SNL came out following SNL's 50th anniversary. Q Card guy came out and said that Ryan Reynolds actually rewrote his line, that was his choice to deliver that joke. It wasn't something that SNL pitched. Apparently they had a different line in rehearsals, and he pitched to replace it with a line that he ended up delivering to Amy Poehler and Tina Fey. So Q Card guy, I think his name is Q Card Wally. He was on the Fifi, Fev, and Nick podcast, and Q Card Wally said he had a different line in rehearsal and he pitched that to replace it. So that was his idea to do it. We wouldn't want to do anything too controversial unless they were in on it. So yeah, that was his line. That was his idea to do that. So that also kind of makes it look a lot worse that Ryan Reynolds intentionally wanted to poke fun at the situation. Because I just think Ryan Reynolds thinks that he's hilarious. I think him and Blake Lively are just like, oh my God, we're so funny. We tell the best jokes ever. LOLs. And so the LOLs just didn't land. And I don't think they'll land in front of a jury should this go to trial. But I also want to know, what was the original joke? Was it worse? Was it different? Did they not talk about the scandal? Did they talk about the scandal more, less? I want to know. Part of me feels like he didn't downplay the scandal with this joke. I feel like he leaned into it more. I don't think SNL would be like, yes, let's lean into this very serious situation that your wife is going through. I think it was probably a different joke or a softer joke. And he was like, actually, no, let's lean into it. It'll be funny. We have to make fun of ourselves, guys, because that's who Ryan Reynolds is, a funny guy. It was a choice, and Ryan Reynolds made that choice. He didn't have to make any jokes at the event. He didn't have to do any skits. He wasn't required to. There were plenty of celebrities that were there that did not participate in skits. They came to just support or, whatever involvement they had in a skit. It was very minuscule, or it didn't. I was talking to Donna Bolin, and she's like, Kim Kardashian was there. And Donna was telling me, she's like, Kim Kardashian did not make fun about all the controversy surrounding Kanye West. She could have absolutely told SNL, yeah, let me do a joke where we poke fun at Kanye and all the anti-Semitism that he's been spewing lately online, So yeah, I agree. He didn't have to do this, and he chose to do this, but Kim Kardashian also made a very conscious choice to not poke fun at the situation. She could have made the exact same joke, and everyone would have known that she was talking about Kanye. She chose not to, whether it was for the sake of her kids or to not get enthralled with the mess or to not take away from the sentiment of the night, which was to celebrate SNL's night, not to celebrate somebody else's scandal. It was a choice. Ryan Reynolds made a choice. Now, according to the Hollywood Reporter, though, they have an SNL spokesperson that's denying Q Card Wally's claim. They said that Q Card Wally isn't even a credited writer on the series and isn't part of the creative process. I'm going to say this because I don't know if Q Card Wally is telling the truth or the spokesperson from SNL is telling the truth, but I will say this. Wally is a crew guy, and I tend to believe the crew guys over the spokespeople, right? The spokesperson has the brand to protect. Q Card Wally, don't give a damn. He's going to tell us the truth. He's going to give it to us straight. I trust Q Card Wally. He's holding this is the thing. The crew members are the ones that get forgotten on these sets, right? It's always the publicist and the lead actor and the writers, and all of those people take precedent on the set, right? Especially when you're the star. When you're the star, nobody cares about the Q Card Wallies. They're just like, oh, hey, Wally, good job. Keep holding your cards, dude. And that's where it's at, And that's where it stands. And they forget about them until they go on a podcast and they start spitting some truths. So I hashtag stand with Q Card Wally. So, yeah. But funny that the Hollywood Reporter is the one that published that, debunking Q Card Wally, because the Hollywood Reporter is in a bit of a hot mess themselves. But I just want to say, the Zack Pack, we stand with Q Card Wally. We love you, Q Card Wally. Okay, let's get into this Hollywood Reporter article because we got a lot to dive into. So they published this article last week with the title, Justin Baldoni's Leap of Faith. What role did the controversial director's Baha'i religion play on the set of It Ends With Us? Did Wayfarer's missionary miscues help set the stage for this Hollywood uncivil war? Well, when I initially got this article, I skimmed through it, thought that it could have been a plan from Baldoni's team. And now I said that because I didn't take away anything bad about his Baha'i faith from this article. That's why I was like, this kind of feels like they're in a way covering the Baha'i faith and they're making it seem better than what it was totally foreign to me. Just like Justin Baldoni. Had no clue who this dude was last year. If you would have told me, if you would have given me the name Justin Baldoni 4 months ago, I would have been like, don't know who that is and don't fucking care. Right. But now I know who Justin Baldoni is, and now I'm learning about the Baha'i faith. So I actually thought that the Hollywood Reporter could have run this article and it may have been planted from Baldoni's team to position his faith in a positive light. Because when I read this article, and again, I had just skimmed through it initially, I didn't read through it in depth. I was in New York, I was going back and forth, so I didn't read through all of it. But I skimmed through it to see if there were any big, strong takeaways. And the takeaway that I took from the article was that it didn't make the Baha'i faith look bad. It made it seem like maybe there were some cultural differences on the set. And maybe, with the way people of the Baha'i faith, with their outlook and approach, that maybe, there could be some cultural differences that may be misread. And that was my intention. That's what I believed the intention of the article was to show that, Blake Lively may have, and other people on the set may have just misread the level of intimacy that somebody like Baldoni or, Steve Sorowitz may have had, right? Now, to me, it had a very decent portrayal of the Baha'i faith and how Blake Lively could have misread some things. But now I can see that this very likely could have actually been a plant from somebody that's more pro Blake, possibly even Blake Lively's own team. But the key part of this article isn't even the Baha'i faith, it's the Jenny Slate of it all. Okay. So in this article, it's revealed that Jenny Slate actually, let's start at the beginning. It says that Jenny Slate filed a complaint with Sony, which everybody was kind of shocked by because we're like, what? It filed a complaint she filed a complaint with Sony? What? But Sony has denied complaints. Now, Sony's been very specific with their wording. They told Variety, after they were asked back in August, that there were no complaints, no HR complaints that were filed with Sony against Justin Baldoni during production of It Ends With Us, which means there could have been a complaint filed after production or against somebody else. In this case, and I think people are confusing it, but in this case, this is saying that Jenny Slate filed a complaint against Jamey Heath. Jamey Heath is named in this lawsuit with Justin Baldoni, okay? It's Jamey Heath that's named in this lawsuit, Baldoni that's named in this lawsuit, Steve Sorowitz, Jennifer Abel, Melissa Nathan, and now Jed Wallace is dragged into all of this. Jed Wallace, notably, is suing Blake Lively separately out of the state of Texas. Now, I do believe that should Jed Wallace's case move forward, there's a good chance that Jed Wallace's case could be televised, FYI. There's a good chance because in New York, that's a federal case. That's different. And this is why I think Blake Lively is fighting to have Jed Wallace's lawsuit against her pulled into the New York suit, right? She doesn't want to have to fight this out of Texas. And they were trying to say, well, that's beyond jurisdiction. And then Jed Wallace is like, actually, no, you served me in the state of Texas, so I can sue you in the state of Texas, right? You went and got the Texas courthouse involved here. So guess what? Now let's go. There we go. If we get 100K, I will go to Texas to cover Jed Wallace. Well, we don't have a trial date for Jed Wallace's lawsuit, but when we do, if we can get to 100K, I'll do all the trials should we get there. But here's the thing. I actually think I want Jed Wallace to hold on to this bone and to not let go, right? She may settle this case with Baldoni. We don't know what's going to happen with the Wayfarer Baldoni parties, right? But at least with Jed Wallace, he has his own separate. He said, nah, I'm not doing that whole caboodle, right? I'm going to do this in my home state of Texas. Let's go, right? And so I'm like, let's go. Let's do it. I hope to baby Jesus, God, universe, whoever the Baha'i believe in, all of them, I'm saying, let's move media. I believe, I have to double check that, but I believe in Texas because like Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, what was that, in Virginia? And Gwyneth Paltrow, remember like those smaller those cases in other states. This is why Blake Lively intentionally wanted to, my belief, my conjecture, why I believe Blake Lively filed her case as a federal lawsuit out of the state of New York, right? Very different. So I'm excited. I look forward to what happens with Jed Wallace. But back to this complaint from Jenny Slate. So this article, this piece from the Hollywood Reporter, I want to clarify that this one paragraph about Jenny Slate and her complaint / incident / concern has been changed a total of 4 times. Okay. I've been on their neck. Peter Kiefer, the author of the Hollywood Reporter article here. Okay. Shout out to Peter Kiefer because I still haven't heard from you. Okay. Shout out to the Hollywood Reporter. I almost sent them I almost emailed Peter yesterday. I had the email drafted. I was writing. I was like, do I want to let the mouse go? Do I care? Is this even important? But then I was like, you know what? No, we haven't talked about this on the podcast. So we're going to get into it because we still don't have answers and we still don't have clarity. So shout out to Peter Kiefer. Shout out. Okay. I have questions. So this, like I said, this paragraph specifically has been changed and altered 4 different times. Shannon Saylor says Zach's X account is lit, y'all. So good. Yeah, I've been on it. Well, same thing with Instagram and TikTok. Which, by the way, I'm like, sorry, I don't want to keep shouting myself out, but we're almost at 100K on TikTok. So if you're not following me at Justin Zack on TikTok, go follow me so we can bring 100K. Okay, love you, mean it. Okay. So 4 times, and these are 4 times that I caught, and I'm going to talk to you about how this came about, right? So initially, the article said that Jenny Slate filed a complaint with Sony. Okay. And I remember when I was, like I said, skimming through the article, I screenshotted that piece because I was like, oh, this is the juiciest part of this Hollywood Reporter. Not even about the Baha'i faith, not about anything else, but this specific article stood out to me because this is the first time we have confirmation that Jenny Slate is one of the other women referenced in Blake Lively's lawsuit. Now, Donna Bowling and I were the first to report and the first to put out Jenny Slate's name and Isabella Ferrer's name as the 2 people that we speculate, right? This is our own conjecture, that we speculate are the 2 that are being referenced in Blake Lively's amended complaint. I believe it was Be Better on TikTok that first started floating Jenny Slate's name around. He's like, I'm hearing that Jenny Slate may be part of this. Then Donna Bowling and I are like, Jenny Slate, Isabel Ferrer, boom. But we didn't have actual confirmation until this article came out. And this is why it was so prominent to me, this specific paragraph, which is why I screenshotted it. Okay. So it initially said that Jenny Slate filed a complaint with Sony. Then it changed and said that she didn't file a complaint, that it was an incident and that word got back to Sony. And then since word got back to Sony, Sony then informed Wayfarer that Jenny Slate had some concerns. And then the article changed for a 3rd time and it changed back to calling it a complaint. And now for the 4th time, I'll show you all 4 of the different changes too, side by side. And now it no longer says that it's a complaint. It says that it's a concern that Jenny Slate had, right? And word didn't get back to Sony now. Now it says Sony became aware and informed Wayfarer. So be very mindful that the article, the sentences themselves changed, right? There was a rewriting of these sentences, okay? Because at first there was no disclosure, there was no formal editors. No, I even called a few of my friends that are legit publishers legit reporters that work for publishers in this entertainment world. I called them up. I was talking to them. I was trying to workshop ideas and why and what, the whole situation, right? So I'm going to show you. And we'll get into her actual complaints and concerns, but I just want to point this out, the 4 different versions. And look at that. I screenshotted them and look at that. They're all typed out here for you, okay? So version number 1 says that she filed, you can read them. It says that this is the key part. But apparently Jamey Heath made she's referring to Jamey Heath, but it says he. But apparently he made the offer using language that made Slate so uncomfortable. Sources say that he focused intensely on the sanctity of motherhood and Slate's role as a mother. Then she filed a complaint to the film's distributor, Sony, about the incident. A spokesperson for Sony did not return multiple requests for comment. Then it changed to version 2, and version 2 said, but apparently he made the offer using language that made Slate so uncomfortable. Sources say he focused intensely on the sanctity of motherhood and Slate's role as a mother, that word got back to Sony, the film's distributor. According to sources, Sony then informed Wayfarer about it. A spokesperson for Slate did not return multiple requests for comment. Then we get into version 3. But apparently, he made the offer using language that made Slate so uncomfortable. Sources say he focused intensely on the sanctity of motherhood and Slate's role as a mother, that she filed a complaint to the film's distributor Sony about the incident. A spokesperson for Sony did not return multiple requests for comment. And then the final version that I caught. But apparently, he made the offer using language that made Slate uncomfortable. Sources say he focused intensely on the sanctity of motherhood and Slate's role as a mother. According to sources, Sony became aware of Slate's concerns and informed Wayfarer about them. A spokesperson for Slate did not return multiple requests for comment. So you can dissect these individually and go through it word by word, line by line, right? They're all different. Even so much so as the most recent version no longer says she was so uncomfortable, it just uses the word uncomfortable, which tells me, right? Because they finally addressed this. Now that I've been posting about this on X and posting about it on TikTok and posting about it on Instagram Reels and calling Peter Kiefer out by name and asking the Hollywood Reporter to talk about this, one of my reporter friends told me check the disclaimer on their website. So I went and I checked the disclaimer, and PMC has this on their website that says, we try to ensure that the information posted on the services is correct and up to date. We reserve the right to change or make corrections to any of the information provided on the services at any time without any prior warning. PMC neither endorses nor is responsible for the accuracy or reliability of any opinion, advice, or statement on the services, nor for any offensive, defamatory, obscene, indecent, unlawful, or infringing posts made therein by anyone other than authorized PMC employee spokesperson while acting in their official capacities, including without limitation other users of the service. It is your responsibility to evaluate the accuracy, competentness, and usefulness of any information, opinion, advice, or any content available through the services. Well, that's why if it's my responsibility, okay, because that's what their disclaimer says here. If it's my responsibility to verify this, then that's what I'm doing, right? So after I called this out, they have now added a disclaimer to their website under this article. So the article now at the very bottom has this editor's note that says this story has been updated to provide additional context regarding Ari Emanuel's quotes about Lively and Baldoni. Due to a technical glitch, a portion of this story regarding Jenny Slate reverted to an earlier unedited version and has since been updated. The Hollywood Reporter regrets the error. Hey, Peter Kiefer and your legal department, let's put up all 4 versions again, okay? Because a technical glitch does not change your article, this paragraph specifically, 4 times. Now, I can understand how you publish part 1 and then you change part 2, and then somehow there's a technical glitch that reverts it back that gives us version 3, right? Except the difference between version 1 and version 3, which I caught, is the M dash. The M dash is different. You have the actual long M dash in version 3, and then you have just a dash dash in version 1. Now, I break that down further on Instagram if you want to look at that, the 2 differences. But version 4 is also different from version 2. So you can't say that version 1 and version 3 were the technical glitch and that there was no difference from version 2 to version 4, because you can see the differences there. You can even see, look at the last line and the last line, you can very clearly see that there are differences, okay? So the most recent version says that Jenny Slate did not file a complaint. She raised a concern. The concern, then word got back. Well, actually, what does the 4th one actually say? Let me read it for you. This is according to Slenny. So according to sources, Sony became aware of Slate's concerns and informed Wayfarer about them. So it says that, that to me reads as if Jenny Slate, that Sony became aware of her concerns, not her complaint, but of her concerns, which we'll get into what her concerns are in a second. But how did they become aware is my question. She didn't file the complaint. There was never a complaint that was filed. Sony has been very clear. Wayfarer has been very clear. No HR complaints were filed against Jamey Health or against Justin Baldoni. I assume Steve Sorowitz, I would assume there are no complaints filed against him either. But so now they're just concerns. And somehow Jenny told these concerns to someone else. And someone else, I guess, relayed that message back to Sony. Someone else presumably being Blake Lively. Okay. But it's just funny that the article has changed multiple times, and they're saying that this is a technical glitch. And it just so happened that I happened to have screenshotted that version 1 because I sent it to Donna saying this is the most damning or the most interesting piece because this actually confirms that Jenny Slate did have concerns. She is one of the women. This is confirmation from a media publication that Jenny Slate, and they have sources that have confirmed that Jenny Slate is a part of all this. We don't have confirmation of Isabella. That's still all speculation. That said, what were her actual concerns? So this is what's funny. So her concerns, according to the Hollywood Reporter, there was an apartment that she rented in New York City, where because that's where they were going to be filming. It ends with us in Jersey, in New York, so in the tri-state area. She rents an apartment. She has a toddler, and so I guess there was an issue with this apartment. She, for whatever reason, and we don't have more details about this, but for whatever reason, Jenny Slate had some issue with this apartment. And there was a $15,000 deposit that was made, a security deposit. And she didn't want to then move because if she moved, then she would have to forfeit that $15,000 security deposit, right? Now, with most apartment rentals, when you put down a security deposit, it's usually first and last month's rent, which presumably means this apartment was $7,500 per month, right? That's how much she was likely paying in rent. I don't know what could be so wrong with a $7,500 apartment. Usually, when you live in a building like that, you have a front desk person, you have security. It's a secure building, it's in a nicer place. Listen, I live in a high rise here in downtown Los Angeles. I don't pay $7,500. I pay a little less than that, but I have a very gorgeous 2-bedroom apartment on a very high floor here in downtown LA. That's not meant to be a humble brag, but I'm just telling you, sure, I have little complaints, but it's nothing. Trust me, if I upgraded to a $7,500 apartment in this building, I mean, that would have to be one of the penthouses. I would, maybe not the penthouses. Maybe, well, I don't know. If I'm already in a 2-bedroom, that would have to be a pretty big apartment. But anyway, this is presumably, and yes, I know it is New York, right? LA and New York both have high rents. New York's probably a little bit more expensive, but even so, like I can't even think of the number of complaints that I could have about my apartment that would make me want to break my lease, right? So if she left, if she dropped a $15,000 security deposit, I could understand that that's a lot of money when you have a kid, right? You don't want to lose that money. So what happened? She talked about not being pleased with this apartment that's presumably $7,500 a month. So what does Jamey Heath, who's a producer on It Ends With Us and a producer for Wayfarer, Jamey Heath steps in and Jamey Heath says, okay, Jenny Slate, I understand you're a mother, you have a kid. Here's what we'll do. We care about you. We're going to eat the loss and we're going to cover the $15,000 security deposit so that you can go somewhere else and you can, find a place that presumably is more comfortable for you. I don't know. Maybe we need something a little more expensive. Maybe you'll be more comfortable in a $10,000 a month penthouse. I don't know what would make her more comfortable or what was wrong with this apartment specifically, but there was an issue with this apartment. So I guess it was in that offering of covering the security deposit that he said something about the sanctity of motherhood and Jenny Slate's role as a mother that made her uncomfortable. And so she shared with somebody else that she was uncomfortable. And then that got back to Sony. But there was never a formal complaint that was filed. Did she take the money? I don't know. We don't know if she took the money or she decided to stay in this shitty $7,500 a month apartment, right? Who knows? Again, if I was able to afford a $7,500 a month apartment for me and my kid, I would be life must be not that terrible, right? And then if my boss was saying, "Hey, I don't want you to lose 15 grand, so I'll cover that for you," I'd be like, "Hell yeah!" Listen, I don't endorse this, I don't condone this, but I will say, if you want to grab my butt as a result of that, go for it. For $15,000, I'll let you harass me a little bit, right? I'll play along. I mean, my gosh, what in the hell? Like, listen, you wanna slap my butt a little bit? Okay. Listen, people have tried to slap my butt and grab my ass and shove their hands down my pants so many times, and I didn't get 15 grand out of it. If I that would be a bonus, right? I've been uncomfortable with men a number of times. Let me tell you, men have pushed themselves. They have done things that I did not feel comfortable with. I did not consent. I don't condone that behavior. I did not like that behavior. you know? But I'm just saying shit happens. Not that I condone that, not that I support that, but sometimes shit does happen. And that's the unfortunate reality of the world that we live in, right? It's just crazy that she was uncomfortable with the word. What could he have possibly said about the sanctity of motherhood and about her being a mother? Like, is it what? Is this like an opening the door? Like, I can open my own door. I don't need a man to open my door. I'm an independent woman. Don't open my door. Don't pay. I am concerned about losing $15,000, but how dare you, as my employer, offer to give me $15,000 so that I don't lose money in taking care of my child? You want to talk about the sanctity of what do you know about motherhood? You're a man. Toxic. Like, come on. I don't understand. I truly am like, what? I feel like I fell out of a coconut tree. Wait, Donna Bowling says she has tea. Donna, what's the tea? Donna, come on the live. Baha'i do believe in God and Jesus, laughing so hard right now. It's just, it's crazy, uncomfortable, but also uncomfortable. Like, what is, do you know how many times I'm uncomfortable? Sometimes my dog wants to sniff me in places that make me uncomfortable. Who should I file that harassment claim with? Who should I go and complain about that? Well, Bethany Frankel came out and she said, this is the wokest lawsuit we've ever heard. Like, next thing you know, we're going to hear that you ordered tofu and that steak came next to it. Like, it truly is ridiculous at this point. Like, this is not harassment, and this makes such a joke of harassment. Where did Donna Bowling go? I need this tea. Donna, if I send you the link, can you come on? AL in the live chat says, I'm uncomfortable looking at Ryan and Blake's faces. Where's my 15K, right? I would like to know, did she take the 15K or not? That's really important here. Did she take the 15K or not? But we don't know. Peter Kiefer, where's your reporting? Give me more details. Because guess what? I'm pretty sure Peter Kiefer has confirmed whether or not Jenny Slate took that $15,000. The only issue is, I feel like this article was written to make the Wayfarer parties look bad. So if it's disclosed in this article that Jenny Slate did indeed take that $15,000, I don't think that helps the narrative that we're trying to put out in the press. Again, Peter Kiefer, I have follow-up questions. I would love for you to reach out. My email address is in my Instagram bio. It's on my, go, please send it to Daryl. You can find a way to get in contact with me. Send me a DM, send me an email, whatever you need to do. Somebody please get Peter Kiefer on the phone. I have questions, and I'm going to keep saying Hollywood Reporter and Peter Kiefer. I'm going to keep it going until we get some answers. I'm pretty sure that we have that answer, or at least they found that answer, right? The Hollywood Reporter is very powerful. When they ask some questions, they can get answers if they want answers. But I don't know, maybe that's another technical glitch that we omitted that part of the story. Okay. 4 edits to an article, and it's a technical glitch. We don't know if she took the money or not. We just know she was uncomfortable with the way that he phrased this offer. This is literally where white women tears come from. It's literally the early 1900s. Jamie would have been unalive. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It really is crazy how much this has been twisted. Donna said, I'm getting ready for my live. I have to shower. I'm going live. Okay, so Donna's like, I have tea, guys. She came in to scoop the audience. All right, Donna. Guys, tune into Daily Dose of Donna in a bit. She's going live in about an hour. Let's go show Donna some love in the club. Now I want the tea. It ends with Karen's. That's really what this is turning into. It really is. And it's gonna, and Donna said, I didn't say I had tea. I thought she said she had tea. Oh, Donna Bowling, I'm going to pull up your comment. Oh, Donna says, I got it, tea. Sorry, Donna tricked us, guys. Punctuation matters. It was a technical glitch. Donna typed in and she forgot the comma. She was talking to T in the live chat, and she says, I got it, T, not that she's got T. She was talking to T with Tambo. It was a technical glitch. All right. Can't wait to see if Taylor has to be involved. I hope Taylor Swift gets to be involved in this because Blake Lively is dragging everybody down. Oh, Donna says she does have tea though about Deadpool. Okay, so we'll check out the Deadpool tea. Were either of them at SAG? No. Jason says, thanks for my Monday morning laughs. Those air kisses. I don't feel uncomfortable. Thank you, Jason. Jason Derulo. Next level, Karen. They give victims and women a bad name. It's just, well, here's the thing. It only went this far because Blake Lively won't let the mouse go, right? And it's continuing to look, but I don't even know how she wins. Well, I know how she wins this case, but I don't know what smoking gun she could possibly bring out that would even shift public perception at this point, or would even win in front of a jury at this point. Like, I feel like it's so bad for her that it just, I don't know, because like I said, and I did a whole Instagram reel breaking this down. Like, Blake Lively needs to prove 3 parts in order for her case to be legit, right? And for her to take down Baldoni. One, she needs to prove the harassment claims, which means not necessarily that he harassed her, but that she felt harassed by him. So we would need some sort of documentation of that. Video and footage would be the best, right? But I don't think she has that. So next we have to go with, maybe there was an email, maybe there was a text message, maybe somebody's willing to go on record and say, oh yes, she said this to me. Now, somebody's word, not that strong. Blake Lively's credibility at this point, not that great, right? Because we already see that she, framed the birthing video of Jamey Heath and his wife in the water birth, in that still that they released. We saw she called that pornography, which to me shoots her credibility, right? There's the video footage that very clearly, unless you really want to squint your eyes and tilt your head and twist yourself into a pretzel, that video footage does not show what she claimed in her initial lawsuit, right? She has since rewritten that in her amended complaint. She made it a lot more colorful and analyzed every single frame of that footage that we now saw and said, oh yeah, we'll see, of course she's laughing and making jokes. She's laughing and making jokes because she was uncomfortable, and humor is the way she deals with things. And yeah, she was breaking character, but it was just because she was so uncomfortable. But it's like, none of these things, like, you now just watched that footage and then you started typing out everything that was going on in this scene, and you're like, okay, that's what we're gonna go with now. But my point is, I don't know, like, she continues to bring everybody down in all of this, like, truly continues to bring everybody down with more of these allegations, because she keeps doubling down, and she's practically at this point begging people to be part of this, right? So drag down Ryan Reynolds, because we now see what an asshole he is with the whole nice pull skit and with him inserting himself into the promotion of the film. That looks bad. Doesn't make Hugh Jackman look that great either, but I'm going to give Hugh Jackman a pass because we haven't seen too much of Hugh Jackman, and he could have just been doing his friend a solid, right? But this makes Ryan Reynolds look bad. Makes Taylor Swift look bad because she looks like she's one of the dragons that's helping her take down Justin Baldoni. Seems like Taylor Swift had a bigger role in this, and maybe she did, maybe she didn't. But at this point, Taylor Swift's name is now being so associated with this and makes Taylor Swift look like a mean girl. And there have already been those rumors out there. Jenny Slate looks like a fucking Karen and a total nightmare to work with on set if she's complaining about the sanctity of motherhood when somebody's offering to cover a $15,000 loss that she doesn't want to accept, right? Isabella Ferrer, whether she's part of this or not part of this, like, she's now attached and associated to this, and she looks bad. And she's a new actress, a young actress in Hollywood. This is not how she wants her career to start off, especially when she's already spoken so highly of Baldoni in recent, in the EPK interview and in the text message. Ryan and Blake are the conductors of this train wreck. There won't be a follow-up of this film. No, not at all. Thank you, 6 Acres, for that super chat, though. Liz Plank looks bad because Blake Lively is claiming that she seemingly sent Liz Plank a text that said that Justin Baldoni was this bad guy. And Liz Plank doesn't look too good in all of this. We have Leslie Sloan, who looks like a piranha in Hollywood, and her reputation is starting to sink. We have Stephanie Jones. Everyone's forgotten about her name, but that's because she's quietly trying to stay away from all this drama. She wants nothing to do with it. She was the original publicist that was part of the alleged smear campaign, right? It was her company that was spearheading that from the beginning. And it kind of seems like she's got a vendetta because it's not looking too hot for her. Colleen Hoover, the author, looks like a total clown in all of this because she came out and supported Blake. She was doing hashtag girl power with Blake at, the book con, or what was it? Book Expo, Book World. She was out there rubbing elbows with Blake Lively. Now she just looks thirsty. Brandon Sklenar is trying to promote his new project, and that's not doing well because all people are focused on is the drama of It Ends With Us because he decided to speak out. That was his bad. He decided to go post pro Blake on his Instagram stories, and that came back to bite him. Everybody did the knee-jerk Hollywood virtue signaling thing to align with Blake and issue a statement in support of Blake, and now she's making them all book bonanza. Yes, thank you. And now she's making them look all like fucking idiots. She's making them look bad. Bad. Everyone's trying to buckle down like, ooh, I want to play neutral and all this. Guess what? You should have been neutral from the beginning. Because when allegations are this big, you should always be neutral. Always, until more details come out, until context comes out, until we start to see evidence. Then you can start to make an opinion. You know? It's just crazy. Blake Lively is really just this whole thing has brought the black light onto Hollywood and mainstream media, right? The New York Times looks stupid. Hollywood Reporter's not looking too hot right now. Still waiting for your comment, Peter Kiefer. I got questions. But it's truly the black light that is now being exposed on Hollywood and the mainstream media because we're seeing everything, right? We're seeing all the blood on the wall now, right? We're seeing Hollywood PR tricks. We're seeing how these publicists influence things. We're seeing how the pandering and the virtue signaling and the woke bullshit isn't resonating with people anymore. We're starting to see it. And then Blake Lively even had the nerve to call the Hollywood Reporter sexist for their cover. They released this cover, and I read the cover as here, I'll try to pull it up for you guys. Sorry, I don't have it on the on La Computadora. But so the cover that they ran with is this cover of Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. And it kind of seems, presumably, it looks like this is a case of David and Goliath, and Blake Lively looks to be David, and Justin Baldoni appears to be Goliath because just his body language makes him look a lot taller. It just makes him look like this bigger figure, whereas she has the slingshot. And if you know anything about David and Goliath, David has the slingshot and he has the stone and he uses it, and people aren't expecting him because he's a lot smaller than Goliath, right? And he takes the stone and he pulls it back and he throws the slingshot, and the slingshot goes and it hits Goliath, and that's how David wins. David is the underdog. So based off of this cover alone, it appears that they are positioning Blake Lively as the underdog in this, and Justin Baldoni is the one. He has the book, he has the rights, and it's in Hollywood, and Blake Lively has the flowers all around her. So it seems like they're very much making her the heroine in this. And she came out and said that it was sexist because it looks retaliatory because she has the phone and she's shooting the phone, which to me, I'm assuming is a nod to the text messages that she released. She's like, I got the text messages. I got your messages with Jennifer Abel and Melissa Nathan, which we now know were manipulated. And her team is like, no. We didn't remove the emoji. That was the software. We didn't mess with that, right? And the only reason we cherry picked those text messages was, for consistency, right? Or not consistency, but for what's the word that I'm thinking of? Efficiency. She's like, for efficiency, right? We just wanted to get to the meat of it, the meat of what they were trying to say. So we didn't manipulate the text messages. The software manipulated the text. The software removed the emoji. We didn't do that. And then, but we did include screenshots, right? That message we put through the software, and it somehow removed the emoji. But we have screenshots of the other messages, right? And funny thing is, those screenshots of those other messages omitted a lot of other messages in that thread that debunk that those messages prove that there was the smear campaign. And let's just pretend that document that they released with the attempt of what the smear campaign allegedly was, and it was the worst case scenario, even that is not what allegedly they claim happened with this astroturfing. Astroturfing and Jed Wallace's involvement was never part of that plan, that crisis PR strategy, right? Where they had phase 1, phase 2, and the worst case scenario was phase 3. None of that plan was even implemented. It was a totally different set of plan that with astroturfing and all this other shit that they claim. It's just the whole thing. But so, yeah, that's the sexist Hollywood Reporter cover, according to Blake Lively. Which to me doesn't make her look bad at all. I think that this is a case of David and Goliath, but Baldoni is David and Blake Lively is Goliath because Blake Lively has the power in Hollywood. She's the name. She's got the money with Ryan Reynolds. She's got the husband. She's got the dragons. Justin Baldoni is literally nobody. Literally nobody. Maybe you watched Jane the Virgin, you recognized him from there. My stepmom loves him because she's like, I used to watch Jane the Virgin. I loved him. And then I followed him on Instagram and I knew who he was. And I was like, okay, well, you're not the majority of people. I was like, nobody knows who. She's like, I know, I'm nobody. And I'm like, no, I'm not saying you're nobody. I'm just saying he virtually was out of our, like, I had no clue who this dude was unless you were a fan of Jane the Virgin, right? Which, by the way, Jenny Rodriguez, a lot of her old videos and posts with Justin Baldoni have resurfaced, and she loves Justin Baldoni. The cast and the crew loved working with Justin Baldoni. Not once did they ever consider him to be a creep. So yeah, I'm sorry, Justin Baldoni, even though he was the director on this film, he still had no control and no power on this set when it came to Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. So yeah, sorry, doesn't make sense to me. But so in order for her to win this case at this point, one, she has to prove that she felt harassed. Again, she needs some sort of documentation of that. And even if she can prove that, which maybe she can, I think if anything, that's the one piece, one of the three pieces. This is the easiest one for her to activate because it can really go based off of her word. She can put her assistant on the stand and say, yes, the assistant said that she was crying in her trailer and she felt harassed by him, even though the timeline and the text messages of when she's trying to buy him matcha and she wants him to come into her dressing room while she's breastfeeding, or pumping rather, not breastfeeding, but pumping. I don't know. Doesn't really seem to add up, but okay, if you want to put your assistant or your makeup artist on the stand and say, yes, she felt harassed. Okay, fine. That's probably the easiest part for her to prove that she felt harassed. Not that he actually harassed her, but that she felt harassed. And now it was strange that she didn't file anything with SAG. She didn't file anything with Sony. She didn't file anything with Wayfarer. Part of her claim in the original lawsuit says she didn't know how to. She's been an actress in Hollywood for how many years now? And suddenly she doesn't know how to file an HR complaint. Suddenly, even though she filed a complaint against a makeup artist on the set of Gossip Girl, now suddenly, suddenly her brain doesn't work and she doesn't remember how to do these things. And she's defenseless. Remember, Justin Baldoni, he's the director. He's a producer. He has the power. He's a nobody, but he has the power. Come on. You think I just fell out of a coconut tree? But anyway, that's part one. She has to prove that she felt harassed and there's documentation of her feeling harassed, right? She then has to prove that Baldoni and his team was aware of that harassment, right? That's the easiest part, is the harassment claim. The second part is the smear campaign. She's going to have a tough time proving this. Why? Because she has to prove that Melissa Nathan and Jennifer Abel planted stories with reporters, and they were bad stories, right? The most she has is that Daily Mail article where she claims that that was planted by them. And then we've now seen the full thread of the text messages where we see that Jennifer Abel and Melissa Nathan were joking, and there was a sarcastic tone in that thread. That tone was removed. The context of that thread was removed, and it made the text messages appear literal and made it seem like they were literally talking about planting this article, which they did not. When you read the full thread and you see the context, they were joking about how, oh yeah, Leslie Sloan's probably going to accuse us. We did this. We planted this story. When if you go through the thread even further, you see that Melissa Nathan gets the article for the first time, and it's in shock. She wasn't expecting to see that Daily Mail article, even though Blake Lively's team said that she planted it. Okay, we need proof that shows that her and Jennifer Abel orchestrated this, right? Need actual evidence. Reporters going on record, text messages from Melissa Nathan or Jennifer Abel, something, right? Something that proves that. They also need to prove that Jed Wallace astroturfed and that the astroturfing was done to harm Blake Lively, right? It was done to hurt her reputation. It was done whatever. They have to prove that the astroturfing took place. And the fact that Jed Wallace is independently suing Blake Lively outside of this lawsuit, he himself is suing her out of Texas. The fact that he's doing that tells me that he's probably pretty confident that he's going to win that and that he's going to be able to prove that he did not actually astroturf. Okay. So that's the second part. She has to prove that the smear campaign took place. And that's not just screenshots of mean comments, because that's what she's given us so far, is some mean comments. And she's like, yeah, look at these mean comments. Like, duh. They're mean comments. It's like, well, you have to prove that those are mean comments that were part of an orchestrated takedown, right? An orchestrated campaign that was activated. You have to prove that. And not just some mean comments because people don't like you. Because celebrities and public figures get mean comments all the time. I get mean comments all the time. I'm sure there are bitches in this live chat right now dragging me for whatever this or that reason, you know? And then the third part that she has to prove, and this is the most important part, and this is the hardest part, And that's the intent, which is retaliation. She has to prove they did this in retaliation, that Steve Sorowitz or Jamey Heath or Justin Baldoni, all three of them presumably, did this intentionally out of retaliation to keep her quiet or to, to retaliate against her, right? Because it's a retaliation campaign. So she needs to prove that not only did they do this, but that part of the reason or that the motivation behind doing this was retaliation. That even if she can prove that the astroturfing happened, Justin had to request astroturfing and he had to say, I want you to astroturf so that we can take her down and keep her quiet so that she doesn't speak out against the harassment. Or so that well, and here's the other thing about that whole piece is Wayfarer is claiming that they didn't know that there was any harassment, that when they agreed to her list of demands, it was a 17-point list, not the 30-point list. And they're also claiming that they were not made aware of these harassment claims until her lawsuit came out. There was never mention of harassment. So in order to prove retaliation and the smear campaign, they have to prove that this was deliberately done in response to prevent that from getting out, to punish her, to retaliate against her, all of that. And Jason says, seriously, where are the receipts? Well, the argument is that, well, she doesn't want to reveal all the receipts yet. She's waiting for the trial. She's waiting for the trial. But I'm like, I'm telling you right now, the receipts that she has to drop are going to be metadata with proof of the astroturfing, text messages and emails with Melissa Nathan and Jennifer Abel corresponding, coordinating with reporters to plant negative stories, right? She has to prove that. And then she also has to prove that Baldoni, Wayfarer, or Heath or Sorowitz, all three part of Wayfarer, that they were instructing Melissa Nathan and Jennifer Abel and Jed Wallace to do these in retaliation. They have to prove that. The 17-point list was part of the plan to destroy him, to take the film. Possibly. Jamey Heath didn't do anything. Well, apparently he offered $15,000 to Jenny Slate because she's a mother and she felt uncomfortable. So those are the three pieces that Blake Lively has to pull together, pull the rabbit out of the hat. Zack, is there a legal claim for a smear campaign if there was no harassment? I mean, a smear campaign isn't necessarily illegal. I mean, the only thing she can really stand on the smear campaign piece for is defamation, right? If she can prove that the smear campaign, like it goes to the motivation. Whatever the smear campaign is, the issue is with the motivation, right? So maybe the motivation was to defame her. Maybe the motivation was to retaliate against her. Like that's what she needs to prove. It's not necessarily like a smear campaign, though unsavory, is not illegal necessarily. It speaks to motivation. And so she can say that, like, oh, they did this smear campaign to defame me because the things that they were planting were false and untrue. And so they did this to hurt my reputation. Great. You have to prove that. You have to show intent and motivation. And you also have to show that there was, if it's a defamation case, you have to show that it was reckless or that it was deliberately false and knowingly false information that they were planting to hurt your reputation. These are not easy things to prove. Jason says, if she had receipts, we would have seen them, right? Yes and no. You would think we would have seen them by now. So it's weird that we haven't seen them by now. That's the part that's really strange to me, because it's like she keeps revealing, his list. She reveals her no more demands list, right? The 17-point and then the 30-point. I believe in the amended lawsuit, it's now referred to as a 20-point list. So I'm uncertain of, was it 17 points? Was it 30 points? Was it 20 points? Because it says 20 points in this amended complaint. And if it was only 20, then what happened to the 30? Why is there more than the 17? Like, I'm confused. Inconsistencies in this story, right? Yeah, forensic for the phones. Yeah, they would need to do forensics with the phones. We would need metadata. But that's what Brian Friedman, I believe, is now saying, is that, like, they don't have any evidence. That's why they have to go through our phone records to try and find something, because they don't have anything. They have no case, which they really don't. Outside of some really colorful storytelling, they don't have a case. They just don't, from what we've seen so far. And she's not afraid of revealing screenshots, right? She screenshotted her mean tweets when another simple favor was announced. It's just kind of interesting. Were those leaked Sony HR complaints real, do you think? I don't No, I don't believe that they were real, or maybe they were versions. I don't know. Somebody wanted those out there. Somebody put them out there. And I think they were put out there intentionally to out Jenny Slate and Isabella Ferrer. It's very telling that Isabella and Jenny Slate have not gone on record or said anything. They're not aligning with Blake. They're not making statements. They're not nothing. Literally nothing. And Jenny Slate's reputation continues to take a hit. At this point, Jenny Slate should sue Blake Lively for defamation, because that's who's really hurting her character at this point, because she keeps dragging them in. And the fact that they're not willingly coming out, especially at this point when the reputation is taking such a big hit, you would have thought that all three of these women would have publicly come forward. But Blake's like, no, they gave me permission to not use their names and not get into the nitty gritty of the details, but they've given me permission to share their story. Nope, it sounds like you're trying to force them into being deposed. It sounds like we're going to get a hostile witness on the stand. Doesn't sound like Jenny Slate and Isabella Ferrer want to be part of any of this. And they just keep getting dragged in. Whoever aligns with her will destroy their career. I mean, that's what it's looking like. But so, as Bethany said, this is the wokest lawsuit we've ever seen. And I agree. It's very like, I'm uncomfortable. Oh, I don't like it. Ugh. You know, it's very like lacking substance, which brings us to the SAG Awards. And what's her face? What's her name? Jane Fonda. Workout tapes by Fonda. So Jane Fonda made a speech at the SAG Awards this weekend, and she basically said that it is not. What did she said? Something about being woke. Hold on, let me pull up the actual. Oh wait, what is this? Deadpool 2. Oh my goodness, stunt. Inadequate workplace setup. Report finds government investigators into a 2017 motorcycle stunt passing during the production of Deadpool 2 have concluded the fatality was due to an inadequate planning on set and not writer error. It was announced Wednesday. Wow. So on the set of Deadpool 2, which is not the most recent Deadpool, that's Deadpool and Wolverine, but it seems like the sequel, which was before this most recent Deadpool film, there was some sort, I don't get why this is that. I mean, I guess it kind of seems like this is another, what do you call it? What's his name? Steve Baldwin. Alec Baldwin. Not Steve. Alec. Seems like it's another one of those things. I don't know. That's not that juicy. I mean, it's attached to Ryan Reynolds, but it's so old. And I guess this is just the findings of the investigation that have now been published. But wait, what was the point what was I saying? Oh, about Jane Fonda. So Jane Fonda out here, you know, just living her best life, but she made this speech about being woke. And so the speech, I'm trying to pull the exact quote. She says, make no mistake, empathy is not weak or woke. And by the way, woke just means you give a damn about other people. And she did the hands, the fist. Yeah, solidarity. I'm like, guys, I want to say this. I like Jane Fonda, okay? Big fan of Jane Fonda. Loved her, you know, I wasn't around for the workout tapes by Fonda era, but from Monster-in-Law to Grace and Frankie, big fan of Jane Fonda. And I'll actually say I have a lot of respect for Jane Fonda, right? But this speech and woke and empathy and giving a damn about other people is so ridiculous and preposterous and shows just how out of touch Hollywood actually is, right? Most people at this point don't associate woke with empathy, right? At this point, people now associate woke with this extremism, this wackadoodle. I mean, if anything, we're talking about how I view woke. Woke isn't about other people. Woke isn't about caring about other people. Woke is about me. My triggers. I'm like Jenny Slate and Blake Lively are the epitome of woke, and this is why that people are so fixated on this case, is because it really is the fall from grace of a Hollywood actress, right? Blake Lively is the epitome of that. a Hollywood actress that was pretty, and she was blonde, and she was the star of Gossip Girl, and she married the hot, handsome, famous actor in Hollywood, Ryan Reynolds. They're the power couple, all that thing. They were the epitome of Hollywood. And the reason people are really appreciating this fall from grace is because it's showing how out of touch these people are. Right. And that is what woke is. Woke is not about empathy. And listen, I will even say this: Jane Fonda is not woke. Jane Fonda is brave. Now, do I agree with every position or social issue that Jane Fonda aligns with? No, but I will give her credit and respect. She is a very brave woman. I mean, listen, you don't have to lecture me about Vietnam. Like, the fact that she was even willing to go against the grain shows the level of, bravery this woman has. She is brave, right? She's unafraid. She knows what she believes in. She stands for what she believes in. And that's great. Appreciate that. Love that. You go, Jane Fonda. That is not woke. Woke is Blake Lively and Jenny Slate. Me, me, me. My triggers matter. I'm uncomfortable. Bend to me. Make me feel comfortable. Give me a safe space. That's woke. Woke is about perpetual victimhood, is what woke is. Let me find out how I can make myself look unique and feel important by projecting what I need to be validated within me, That's what woke is. That is not Jane Fonda. And I was talking to one of my friends about it this morning, who's a reporter, and I was like, come on. He's like, it's Jane Fonda. It's Vietnam. Like, come on. She's, and I was like, well, yes, I know that she's always been super liberal, and I know she's always been a social justice warrior. I go, but come on. Like, she's not woke. And he's like, yeah, but she's also 84. And I was like, oh, so basically you're just saying she's out of touch. And he's like, yeah, she's out of touch. But it's like the lack of self-awareness that Jane Fonda is literally glammed up in a dress that most Americans cannot afford, right? And will never be able to afford. And chances are she probably didn't even pay for it herself. The designer likely gifted it to her so that she could wear it, right? She's on stage at Hollywood's biggest circle jerk. That's all these award shows are circle jerks in Hollywood. And she's literally here and this is why people feel like Hollywood is so out of touch, and it's all, woke virtue signaling is what people have now come to see Hollywood as. This is just, we want to pat ourselves on the back and talk about how great we are and how deserving we are. And God forbid you make us feel uncomfortable. God forbid you put tofu next to our steak, right? Or vice versa, steak next to our tofu because we're vegan, right? God forbid you put a little gluten because I'm fake celiac, where some people are real celiac. And then, like me, I don't eat gluten, and I'm one of those LA bitches, but I'm not going to, cry about it or make a big deal about it. But it's preposterous at this point. It's ridiculous. The fact that this is going, I will give Jane Fonda grace because, like my friend said, she's 84 years old. So she's likely very out of touch with reality at this point. But it's the fact that people are making this speech go viral as if you don't realize, like, this is why you lost the people. This is why Hollywood is losing the people. And doubling down on woke is not the way to go. Again, people don't see woke as empathy. They don't see woke as caring for other people. Woke has become such a politicized term that doesn't resonate with people. Even people on the left that were sharing this, I'm like, you guys don't even believe in woke. You guys think woke is ridiculous, but that's how it is. It's fake, right? All of it is fake. It's all performative. I see these people posting about it and whatever. And I'm just like, sure. I was like, most people watched that speech and rolled their eyes. The people that are posting about it on Instagram and whatnot, they're reporters, they're influencers, they're people in Hollywood, they're actors, and they're posting about it on social media. What is social media? A stage. It's a performance. I can say that because I'm on it every day. I'm in on the joke. I'm aware of what it is, It's just, that's why somebody like Leighton Meester is having her moment right now, because somebody like Blake Lively, people want to see that old Hollywood, or not even old Hollywood, because there's like old Hollywood, which is like Marilyn Monroe. And then there's like this new era of Hollywood, this woke Hollywood. But then there are people like Leighton Meester and Adam Brody that are having their moment right now, and understandably and deservingly, they deserve their moment right now, right? Because they come, they do their job, they, are dedicated to their art. They're not like Blake Lively. And listen, Leighton had plenty of opportunities to come and drag Blake Lively in the press if she wanted to, and she didn't. She stood quiet. She waited for her moment. She knew her lines and she just kept going. And people like Blake Lively are now exposing Hollywood for what it is. So I don't know if any of that made sense. I'll get off my soapbox now, but LJ says what I'm struggling with is why, like, how evil do you have to be to do this to somebody? Like, what is the reason? Power. You have it all. It's sad. Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. That's really where we're at this point, and it's unfortunate. Redo P says it would be one thing if we were making a good movie. At this point, we're patting each other on the back for no reason. Yeah, and that's all Hollywood is. It's performative. It's all performative at this point. Lively is not A-list. I didn't say Lively was A-list. Ryan Reynolds is A-list. Yeah, it's entitlement. That's what woke is. Thank you. Woke is entitlement. And unfortunately, but it's like when people are already so tired and fatigued with Hollywood in general, when we're already like, oh my God, why do I want to watch another award show? It's just all of these actors in a circle jerk. It's like, why do I want to keep watching this? And that's what you're going to do? Like that's what we're going to lean into? You can have empathy. You can care about other people. I'm not saying not to do that, but I'm just like, woke is not, like, doubling down on that is not the way to go. It's not the way to connect with people again. And anybody that's sharing it and thinks that that was the Nobel Prize winning speech of the night, sorry, you're in on the performance. You're in the circus. Whether you're riding the tricycle or jumping through the ring of fire, whatever it is, you're in the circus and you're complicit in this performance. And most people don't resonate with it anymore. They already told you that. They told you that in November. They said, we don't resonate with that. So the last thing you need to do is double down on it. Because all you're going to do is further divide people. Love Pink says, I feel like woke means intentional awareness where everyone is trying to trick you. Too woke can be now you're paranoid. That's one interpretation. Zack, buddy, you played right into Candace Owens' right-wing talking points. I don't follow Candace Owens' talking points. I follow my own. Marie says, Zack, you're on target. Thank you. I try. Oh, Ari says, and people need to realize this isn't the first time it's happened. It's just happened to someone with the means to fight back this time. Yes, that's a really good point, Ari. Referring to Baldoni and Blake and that lawsuit. Yes, absolutely. So this stuff happens all the time. We're just now seeing it exposed. And this is why I say Blake Lively is now putting the black light on Hollywood and traditional media and PR, Hollywood PR, all of that stuff, because we're now seeing the tricks that have been going on forever. They've been happening for a long time. We're just now hyper aware of it. All right. I think that's what we got. It's like Beyonce winning country music. Don't get me started on that. The Beehive's going to get mad at me. They're going to come for me again. Woke turned folk. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately. We are at the border of a Great Depression. These celebrities are lecturing us. Just get your awards, say thanks, and move on. Yeah. That's the thing. People don't care. If people cared about celebrities and their politics, they would have, Kamala would have won. Look at how many celebrities came out and endorsed her. They showed that the people are no longer in alignment with Hollywood's pandering, or with Hollywood's virtue signaling, not pandering, virtue signaling. Jason says, just want to remind everyone that it's okay to have different opinions. I was raised by conservative Catholics and I'm thankful every day for them. Yeah. And listen, and that's what this channel is, right? We're allowed to have different opinions. We're allowed to disagree. It is what it is. And listen, we can all have different viewpoints. But personally, what I see from people is that they don't connect with Hollywood anymore. They don't idolize celebrities the way that they used to. They don't care about the virtues, or we're too savvy for the virtue signaling. We're too savvy for the media tricks and the media manipulation. We've become too aware. Ari says, I'm so glad this ordeal introduced me to Zack. Yes, I agree. So many of us got connected and are now becoming fast friends in this saga. Okay. That said, dun, 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 yes, there's a difference between being awake and being woke. And I think Jane Fonda is very much the epitome of somebody that's very much, well, I don't know if I would say awake, but she's very much a social justice warrior. She's a very brave woman, whether I agree with her or not. Very brave. All right. That said, love ya. Appreciate ya. My interview with Kempire will air tomorrow. Stephen Peters on Wednesday, and then on Thursday will be Jackie Goldschneider. And then, like I said, Friday I'm planning the town hall where I want to bring a bunch of these different, like Ari, Colonel Kurtz, Donna. I'll reach out to all of them and see who's available, but I want to do a roundtable this Friday. So thank you. Appreciate you. Love ya. Be sure to, let's try to get this channel to 100K. That's the goal. We're gonna hit 100K. So if you're subscribed, subscribe. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, then definitely leave me a nice Apple Podcast review. I'll give you a shout out on the show this week. But yeah, thank you guys. I love you. Appreciate you. You've been so good to me. And I am just very grateful that you continue to stand by me. Stand by me. All right. Give me a follow at Just Plain Zack. Follow the podcast at No Filter with Zack. Get ready. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Get it. Get it. Oof, my voice is dry. I need some water or something. Too much talking. Too much on my soapbox. All right, guys. Talk to you tomorrow. Ciao for now. Goodbye for now. To you, my friends. Goodbye for now. Until we meet again. Bye, 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 bye. Come on, people. Subscribe. Let's get Zack to NYC in Texas. I know that's right. NYC in Texas. Let's get it. All right. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.